Good afternoon, it's Dr. Larson. So the big news is the Health Department, the Board of Health, and the Board of County Commissioners have submitted our request to move into phase 3 to the Secretary of Health. We are meeting all of the metrics in regards to what was required, so I would expect that we will be approved. I've been asked, will we be approved by tomorrow? And the answer is no. It goes to the Secretary of Health's desk. It's not just Secretary Wiesman that's doing the looking at those anymore, so there's more people looking at them, but I would expect to hear relatively soon, but I can't give you a date. But we are meeting all the metrics I expect to be in phase 3. I would venture to guess sometime next week. So let's go to questions.
Can you start off by quickly clarifying for phase 3, talking about non-essential travel?
Yeah, so I'm going to ask all of you to go to the governor's website and look at the governor's website and look at this document that says Washington phased approach. Because I don't have this document memorized. I know what's available in the current phase that we're in. So all of that's available there. And then if you go underneath there to the specifics, if you're worried about what's available in churches, what we can do, how many people we can be out and about, the biggest thing, and the reason that I kind of glossed over non-essential travel, is that the biggest thing for most of us is being able to get together with larger groups of people. So the most important piece to me in here is being able to get together with groups of people less than 50. There's also a lot of good information here on businesses. For example, there's information for gyms. There's information that came out today in regards to churches. I've already forwarded that to Mercer Creek, and it's already been forwarded to the Ministerial Alliance. So that some of that information is based upon the phases, and some of it's based upon things that come out from the governor's site. So I would recommend, if you want to know specifics, to look at the governor's website, look at this Washington phased approach, and say, okay, well, you can resume all non-essential travel. It doesn't say what non-essential travel is in this document. You need to go further in the governor's website. But as a general rule, essential travel is going to the grocery store, going to the doctor's office, going to the bank, doing those things that were included in essential services, going to work if you are in construction. And non-essential services would be things like, well, I think I'm going to drive to Yakima. Not recommended by me, but I think I'm going to drive to Yakima, I'm going to go to Seattle, those kind of things, to go to some event somewhere. So things will be open more, that's a good thing, and that's really because people have been really doing their part in maintaining social distancing and masking and those kind of things.
Is there any other highlights or main changes that you want to add for the difference between phase 3 and phase 2? Someone had asked for if you could highlight changes, but you've already addressed some of those. Is there anything else that?
Yeah, the biggest ones are in regards to the groups. Allow gatherings with less than 50 people. From a sporting standpoint, and again, a lot of these you're going to have to go to the governor's website, but last week before now, in regards to allowing professional sports to start happening in Washington State, they allowed youth sport leagues to start practicing in small groups. This would allow people to have baseball games, for example. So I would expect Brad Case with the Ellensburg Park and Rec to start moving forward to some of those things. So mostly it gives us more freedom to do things, but it gives us more responsibility, because as we get out and about, the virus is still out there. It doesn't really care what phase we're in.
Can we have a yard sale in phase 2 or in phase 3?
Yeah, we asked back in phase 1, somebody asked about yard sales. So in phase 2, we could have had a yard sale with less than 5 people outside your household. So in that case, that would not have been very helpful. In phase 3, because you can get together with people, groups of people less than 50, your yard sale is an event can have people less than 50.
So this person wrote in, I'm watching what's happening in Texas and Arizona and wondering if there's any way to encourage more people to wear masks. They then go on to talk about getting information out to people, to talk about why it's so helpful. Can you speak a little bit more to the masking issue to help people understand why this is so important?
Yeah, masking is difficult for people to understand, and unfortunately masking has become political. So, and part of the reason it's difficult for people is that initially we said don't wear masks, and then we said do wear masks, and if you were not doing this all the time, you'd have to say, why, what should I believe? Well, the information on masking is masking helps, it's what we have. None of us like to be told what to do. So all along I've been asking, I've been begging, I gave a directive in regards to masking. The governor made masking mandatory for businesses, and that's enforced through labor and industry. So we've already had labor and industry in Kittitas County doing enforcement actions in regards to that. But we've not mandated masking for all people outside of their house or who can't maintain social distancing. That's been tried in a variety of places. In Orange County, California, the health officer had to resign because she was being threatened because she made a mandated masking order for all people in Orange County, California to wear masks. Interestingly, they pulled that back when the interim health officer came in last week. And today in California, the governor made a mandate masking order for the whole state, saying everybody who's outside their house and can't maintain social distancing has to wear a mask. So enforcement is always a big deal. They don't know how they're going to enforce that, but it does show that masking is important. We are looking at masking in schools. That's been mandated by OSPI. There's a lot of controversy in regards to that. School's a long ways out. Central Washington University is mandating masking on their campus for anyone who's not in a private office. So you're absolutely correct. Mandating is important, or masking is important, and we will continue to get that information out to folks. But again, unfortunately, some of that's become very political, and that's kind of watering down the message somewhat.
Isn't it irresponsible to go to phase 3 when Yakima County is so close and so devastated by COVID-19? They're concerned about travel from Yakima and other reasons for loosening restrictions here would invite more risk.
Yeah, I don't know if irresponsible is the right term, but certainly it gives me a lot of heartburn and anxiety in regards to doing that. We have a lot of our folks that work here that live in Yakima. We have people that live here and work in Yakima. So it's not that there's some kind of a barrier between us and Yakima or us and Grant County. And so we are seeing people come up to get their haircuts. We're seeing people come up to get licenses for marriages, for example. And so we know those things are crossing over, and it does create a risk. That said, we in Kittitas County people have been very responsible. They've been trying to maintain social distancing. They've been wearing masks as much as possible, as much as they feel like they can. And those are the things that we can control. And people here are really ready to move forward. And I believe that people are ready to be responsible. They understand that if we all of a sudden start having these great big parties and people get sick, we're going to be stuck in phase 3 for a long time. We're going to have difficulty opening schools. We're going to have difficulty having sports in the fall and those type of things. So I think people in our county are responsible and are ready to do that, but there is certainly risk. But in every part of life, there's risk, and we always have to be willing to say, how much risk are we willing to accept? So that said, we should be in phase 3 sometime next week. That's a great thing. I'm asking you to be responsible. Watch out for your neighbors, be kind, wear a mask. Don't ask other people why they're not wearing a mask, because there are some reasons that people can't wear masks. And remember that we are all working hard for you in public health, your elected officials, and thus the reason that we were able to move forward with this request to move into phase 3. So once we move into phase 3, I'm probably going to go to a once a week cadence on this. We'll have to choose which day that happens to be, but you'll hear from me tomorrow. Thanks a lot.